Rolling. All right. Well, rolling.
Rolling on the river.
I can't do that. Okay. Rolling. No, I can't. My throat is not there. Well, good morning. I don't know.
Hello.
I don't know why I said good morning.
Yes.
Hello.
Good day. Good day,
Good
mate.
day, matey.
I'm Valerie,
And I'm Benny.
and this is the Living Your Best Life podcast.
You might just have to restart this.
Ah, what the hell just happened? Okay, I'm resetting. Well done. Not so much. Are we rolling? Oh, we're rolling?
Oh, now we're rolling.
Okay.
Okay.
Rolling.
Good day.
Rolling. I'm kidding. No, we're not going to do that again. Okay. Hello.
Hi
Welcome. We're glad you're with us.
to the Valerie
And Benny.
podcast.
What the heck is going on? You sounded like a robot. AI.
I know.
Valorie's not here today. It's a little AI robot.
I don't even know.
Okay. So, welcome to the Living Your Best Life podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. The
And we're
podcast with brother and sister.
And we're having a good time already.
We're already having a good time. And we haven't had anything but water to drink.
That's exactly.
And so anyway, we are very glad that you are with us. This is the podcast where one of us chooses a subject and the other does not know what the subject is.
Correct.
But the idea is... I'm pausing because I thought maybe you'd share something.
I thought maybe you forgot what you were talking about.
She's looking at me like, what's he going to say? This is fascinating.
I'm on pins and needles. No, the idea is that we will bring a topic that will inspire you in some way, shape, or form to live your best life on a daily basis.
Yeah. So random topics. So hopefully they're topics that are relevant, and they might, like last week we talked about being a good employee, which you may not be an employee. And so one of the things we didn't get to, which we were thinking of, and we might address it somewhat today, if not in a future podcast.
If you're an employer.
Yeah. So if you're the boss, then how can you be a good boss?
Mm-hmm.
What would you what can you do to be a good boss? So yeah, so there you go. That's
Yeah.
kind of the general thing that we do. Today is your topic, but before we get there, how have you been doing?
No, you're doing. The
Wow.
robot. Should we start this all
I'm
over
gonna
again?
I'm gonna have more water.
I'm good. My first full week at Lincoln, so it was wonderful. It was actually just wonderful, and so I'm good. I'm
Happy, content.
very, very happy. And
Yeah. Today
And then last week, shooting all the way back to last Friday, it was your birthday.
it was.
And then you guys went out to dinner, and Patty or called at one point and said, "Hey, do you guys want to meet us too?" And we had just got on our comfy clothes. We were just like, Peter was eating his dinner, and I said, "Oh God, we just got settled in. We're just like relaxing and stuff." And she's like, "Okay, I understand." So I tell Peter when I hang up, I tell him why Patty called, and he's like, "It's your brother. It's his birthday." And I go, "So you want to go?" And because he had just said he was tired and he was hungry, so he goes, "We should go." So we went back in the room, got our clothes back on, and
It was
and went
very-
over,
oh
and
my
we had
gosh.
fun. Yeah.
So I should give the backstory is that everybody wanted to know what I wanted. Oh my gosh, Iggy. Thank you for doing sound. Iggy's here.
Iggy.
Sorry. But what happened was that we were just going to go out to dinner and I don't want to call it a really nice dinner, but it wasn't a place that you quote unquote party. It was
Exactly.
it was where you eat and talk nicely to each other.
Right.
So
And if
So-
you guys are local, you'll know it's called the Local Kitchen. So
yeah.
you know what kind of place it is.
Yeah, which is interesting because you could be listening to this anywhere in the world, so you're local to wherever you are. So if you're local to Southern Cal, like
you're
the
right.
South Bay
Oh
area.
my gosh, I'm so
So-
silly. I'm so silly.
So anyway, but the thing is that I liked the restaurant that we were going to go to, and as we were leaving, I saw the sports bar. As we were, walking toward it, I see the sports bar, and I'm like, "Oh, Patty, we got to go there because we're Chiefs fans." And so every once in a while we'll go to a sports bar and watch a game. And my daughter and Ashley says, "Oh, you know what's funny is that because she had invited Grandma Mika and Papa as well. And so she said, "Oh, that's where Grandma said that we should go because we're a bigger group and it's nice and da da da." And I said, "Well, why don't we just go there?" And Ashley, so like has to have things in order. She goes, "Because we have reservations at the other place." I said, "Well, sweetheart, did you pay for the reservation?"
Right.
No. And I said, "Well, then cancel
it. Yeah. And somebody
and-
else can get in sooner.
Yes, exactly. So we ended up going there, which meant now we can
Invite.
Yeah, invite more people, and so we can invite more people, and so that's when they invited you guys to come,
Right.
and then you guys surprised us. You did not.
Well,
tell
yeah,
her.
because then when Peter said, "Let's just go," I was like, "Are you sure?" "Yeah." "Okay, let's go." So we went in and got changed and everything, and then he's like, "Well, you're gonna let him know?" I said, "No, we're gonna surprise him."
Yes, and then you, being the quiet little butterfly that you are,
Yes, screaming in the door.
screaming in the door, and everybody freaks out. And Mom had brought a banner that said "Happy Birthday," and then she brought these candles that are like those light candle things, colored candles. Those are ours.
Oh, how funny!
And then she put what else did she do? I
Oh,
guess
no, it
that's
was
all
cute.
she did. But it was
Yeah.
cute. She just did some stuff, and then she put the birthday
The balloon.
the
Yeah.
big birthday balloon thing, and all that stuff. So it was just fun. So we had, and then it was really funny because the day is supposed to be about me. It's my birthday, and so one of the traditional things that happens. One of the traditional things, and Trinity had to come late because she was working. So I said, "Mom, do you remember the day I was born?" And she says, "Of course I remember." And she starts to go into a story. And then I said, "Well, Mom, wait, because Trinity loves those stories. And we always, because that's like our tradition is we
Sure.
always
Share
share
a
the
story
day
on
they
the
were
day they're
born.
born,
Yeah,
yeah.
the day they were born and what it was like and all that stuff." So Trinity comes and I go, "Okay, Mom, you can share the story about the day that I was born." And she goes, like, literally, it was like nothing. She
Yeah.
goes, "Well, you
And then,
you came and it was wonderful."
but then she starts to go, "Well, I remember it hurt, and I didn't know it was going to hurt." And everybody was like,
I'm the third
I'm the
kid."
third. How do you not know it's going to hurt?" No. With Valerie. And then,
She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, I didn't know it was going to hurt." And I said, "You didn't know it was going to hurt? I was the third kid." And she's like, "Well, with you, I knew, but with Valerie." And I'm like, "Well, Mom, this is about me today. It's my birthday." And then she's like, "Well," and that's what happened. It was just silence.
but then it
like,
was funny because any other
every
story,
single time. And then Dad even chimed in. "Oh, I have a story. So we're going to take Mom in the Carmen Gia." And then Mom goes, "That was Valerie." and then it's like, and it just kept on going. I'm
I
like,
know.
this is my birthday
I know.
party. Nobody is sharing anything about me.
That was
And,
funny.
yeah, it really was funny though.
I really
think-
liked that party.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. No, it really was, and it was. And
But
actually,
do you know, like even going back to when I was born, and we're probably boring listeners right now, but did you know that when she had me, I don't know how it was with you, and she didn't remember, but she would put me into a drawer and push me, and then that drawer would go into the other side, which is where the nursery was.
No, I did not know that.
Oh, you didn't hear that story? That was told on your birthday.
No, I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. But is that crazy?
No. You remember
Oh.
Grandma had to be put in an oven?
No, they had to open the oven door. She wasn't put inside it.
She was put in cotton balls and a shoebox, and the oven was on, and she was on the door as it was open.
In a shoebox and cotton balls, and the oven was on with flames. That makes sense.
Well, I didn't do it. Why you acting like it was me?
Well, that's crazy.
Yes, you don't remember the story?
No, I do not.
Oh my gosh, I remember it being told to me many times. Do you think they lied to me?
They probably did.
Oh my
But
god.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't
'Cause
know
she
what
was
they did back
really
when
tiny.
Grandma was born.
'Cause she
But
was really
think
tiny.
about that. Cotton balls.
I
That's what
don't
I'm
have to think about it. It doesn't require a lot of processing. I get the point.
There's flames in an
But there's
oven.
not flames in an oven. I don't know what you're talking about. The flame.
I could-
What oven do you have?
There's flames underneath, but let me just say this. If I bake something with parchment paper, sometimes you pull it out and the ends of the parchment paper are burnt.
But don't you put the parchment paper on the bottom?
You put it on. I put it on a pan. All I'm saying is the oven gets that hot.
But no, I
that
get
the
it. But she
paper
wasn't
actually,
inside. She was on the door. Like, you know how the door is down like that? And so that like heated her up.
Gotcha.
That's what I was told.
Okay, well, that's a good story.
She was very brown. Maybe that's why. She really wasn't that brown either.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. Well,
I
that was
digress.
very interesting. I
Yeah.
am going to just say it was really fun. I will say that when it was done, I was done. I was super tired, and I went to the car, and you guys go, come back in. And then
We walked back. We were outside eating. We walked back into the bar, and we heard it was karaoke, and everybody's all excited and
Not me.
having fun. And we're like, where did Benny go? Where did Benny go? Oh, call him. Oh, he's in the car. What?
I seriously was so exhausted. That particular day, I think I mentioned this even on the podcast, that I got up very early and I was tired. And I had a great time. Seriously, loved it. But I really got tired. You know how when you all of a sudden just, it's
Hit a
like,
wall.
you hit a wall. So I was done. And then all of a sudden I go in and there's like, and they say, "Oh, you're next on karaoke." I'm next. I don't even know how to sing. I don't know any songs. And then it wasn't next. There was these 5 guys that must have sang 174 songs
And then they put
before
in,
we did anything.
What'd they put in?
Oh, the
Cannonball. Yeah.
I did. Yeah, Cannonball.
Wrecking Ball.
Wrecking Ball. See, I would have been great at that. And I'm like, I don't know. And I was so exhausted that even if I wanted to pretend, I couldn't pretend. I
Yeah.
was so tired. I was so tired.
Well, you did pretend, so that was nice of you.
Well, I pretended for about 3 words, and then Valerie, and then what's my wife's name? Patty came up, and she sang.
over,
Yeah,
yeah.
she took over. And you two,
Yeah.
didn't you both do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you both did it.
Yeah.
And then my daughter sang
Yes.
"Hello," which was a great birthday present.
Yeah.
So anyway. But that's that. So it was, all I can say is it was another time where we had family time, and it was just so fun. I love laughing. You know what?
I know.
I really, really,
We
really
laugh
like,
a lot. That's
we
why I'm getting
laugh.
all these wrinkles right here.
Yeah, it's true. You have a lot. Just kidding. I think that I just love when you really can have those gut laughs. There's just something about it, and you're just kind of abandoned. And then it's fun to see other people laugh. Dad laughed like a ton. Dad was laughing. Everybody was laughing. It was really, really funny. And that whole thing, we're not doing it justice, but I cannot tell you how often it was like, I would say, does anybody have a story about me? And then within 5 seconds, it translated back to a story about you.
I know.
It was like, it just kept it happening like that, either by accident or even on purpose. Because
Right.
one time Mom was like, "Oh, I have one."
Right.
And then she starts talking. And then it was like very quickly, all of a sudden she goes into,
Transitioned
and then
into another
and
story.
it goes back into Valerie. And I'm like, "Mom, it's my birthday." And then she just starts laughing like, "I know, but I don't got one." And then she goes, "I have one about you." And then she goes, "Well, we were in a car," and then she goes, "Oh, it's not a good story." And then she just stopped. You remember? And I was like, "Well, just tell it anyway."
Oh my
I
gosh.
actually thought it was a fun story.
Yeah.
And both Dad but it's funny because Mom makes it like just like this is a story, and Dad's like it's a point. 'Cause
Yes.
he's like he would watch the whole day.
I know.
The man putting in the window.
yes,
And
yes.
it was like all of a sudden it became this thing. And I was like, but it was a fun story.
Yeah.
That I was very curious, especially when it came to mechanical stuff.
Yeah. But you weren't. That wasn't the day you were born. That was much later in life.
Yeah, I was much older. Yeah. So there was a lot of stories, about that. So anyway, I guess we could stop talking about your birthday. I mean, my birthday, and talk about whatever
move
you want to
on.
talk about.
Okay, so I didn't come in with a topic per se.
All right. Well, thanks for
because-
joining us today.
No, because what happened was I got some questions and I was like, you know what? And I was answering them through DM and I thought, you know what? I'm going to write these down because they were all within a week's time and they were all about the same thing. And I thought, I'm going to bring these questions onto the podcast because one did pertain to you and then we can discuss it.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay. Let me bring out my trusty
Notes.
notes. Okay. This is the first question. What motivates you and your brother to work out? And then there was like a second question that she had. Benny talked about weighing himself daily. Do you? So The first question is, what motivates you to work out?
It's hard for me to talk about what motivates me anymore because I've been working out for 25 years. And so it's kind of like breathing. I know it sounds stupid, but I mean, it's like, I don't think about it. I just do it. I can't imagine not doing it. I would say that not working out, I think the thing that I'm going to reverse engineer this a little bit and say, when I don't work out, which is occasionally this past 2 or 3 days ago, I can't remember when it was, not feeling like myself, my tummy was upset, never ever like mentally was, I felt like disconnected from myself. I didn't feel sick, but I felt didn't feel, I felt very off. And it made me honestly, my day was off. Everything was off. And I wouldn't call it a bad day. It was just a really odd day. And so I didn't work out. Well, all I can say is that I feel bad afterwards. And I just mean my body, it's like I like the sweat. I like the movement. My body feels stiff and stuff. So when I think of feeling like that, that's a motivation to do it. And then because I'm so used to doing it, a motivation is it's a high for me. Like I get a high.
Yeah.
I used to run, so I used to call it the runner's high. Right. But now I just get a high from working out, and so I just feel better. I feel emotionally better. It's not even, and then physically, there's something about that moving of your body and all that stuff.
And so then I can answer the same question. I agree with you. Because ever since I can remember, I've been doing some sort of workout, and it started back in my early 20s of running. And then you fast forward all those years where, I did like jazzercise, and then I went to this other gym. I can't remember I think it was called Sports Connection, and they had some kind of aerobic thing in there, and I did that for a while, but I always kind of kept up running. But anyway, fast forward all the way to the day I started CrossFit. I told my friend Jen, who got me into it, I said, I'm not going to stick with this if it doesn't give me the runner's high, because I really love that feeling. Yeah. And then got into that and loved that. But my whole thing was there was really I'm not going to lie, back in my 20s, working out, for me, the motivation was looking good. I wanted my body to look good. And then after I had my babies, as soon as I got the okay to start working out again, I went for my runs, and it was to get the baby weight off. So there was that motivation back then. But as it became a habit, and as it became something that just became a part of my life, like you said, breathing, there was no longer a motivation. There was no longer something that was like, oh, I better do this so I can look like this, or I better do this so I can. I think if I was going to say there was a motivation, if anything, is just because I'm aging, that I want to make sure that I'm always, if I keep moving, I don't think that you can stop moving, basically. Like if I ever became sedentary, how would I be in 10 years if I just decided to not do this anymore? And so for me, it's just like you said, it's just like breathing. I get up, it's a habit. I put my clothes on and I go to the gym and work out. And then when I don't work out, like you said, there's twofold to what you said about it, because I did used to feel really bad. Like, I don't like this that I didn't work out today. What can I do? I can do a rest, an active rest day and go for a long walk at the beach and stuff. And sometimes Peter and I will do that. But I do think it's very important to take one whole full rest day. That's when our muscles grow. If you are doing things like working out with weights and stuff like that, because you do need that recovery time. But
so I'm kind of horrible because I don't take a rest day. I take a 2-mile walk. I do a 2-mile walk to 2.5 mile walk every single day, and I don't even consider that exercise. Quite frankly, it's really just.
I think if you're taking a walk, are you taking a walk with your dog, or you're just taking?
No, I'm just taking a.
Okay.
I take a pretty brisk walk. I'll walk 16-minute miles, and so I will. But to me, so another thing to answer the question about motivation, I choose to only. Allow myself to listen to certain things when I'm exercising. So certain podcasts or certain music or certain things. It's funny because I used to laugh at you for only listening to podcasts, and now I listen to podcasts a lot.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes I'll do homework because I'll listen to books and stuff. But I say to myself, I'm only allowed to listen to this when I'm walking or when I'm working
And you
out.
want to listen to that particular podcast. So you're like, okay, I'm going to go
that's
work
a
out
way
and
to
go.
make
Yeah.
that's a way to kind of motivate
Yeah.
me on the
And
side.
you know,
but
and I mean, and to that point, like sometimes you wake up and you're just like, oh, maybe I don't want to go work out today. And sometimes you're justified not to, but at the same time, what is driving you to always work out? Keep that in mind.
So that's a really interesting thing because that does happen. I mean, we sound like, oh yeah, it's so easy to get up. I cannot. I mean, these guys are here and they've heard me probably say, I just don't want to go. I just don't want to go right now.
Right.
And I feel like I just am not up for it. But the thing that makes me do it is twofold. One is because I just do it. I know that sounds funny.
No,
it's a weird thing, but it's
Yeah.
just like, well, this is what I do and
Right.
I have to go do it. And then the second thing is I know I have never worked out and went, well, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
And you've probably not worked out and said, oh, I should have just went and worked out.
Oh yeah, more
So,
than once. This
same.
past Wednesday, I
Same.
feel weird. So
My-
even when I don't work out, what's funny is like there have been times. There was a time because of school that I literally because of work and school I could not work out like a quote unquote traditional workout.
Yeah.
And I went downstairs and rode for 15
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
So I just rode
Yeah.
for 15 minutes and it was like I didn't do it terribly brisk or anything like
Yeah.
that, but I was like,
Just get your body
I just
moving.
got to move. I just
Yeah.
got to move, and it's something that
And
I
you
got to
always,
do.
and like you said, there's never been a time that I've actually, because I've told myself a few times, okay, you know what? Just get yourself to the gym. If you're there and even after 10, 15 minutes of working out, you're not feeling it, then you can leave.
Yeah, exactly.
You can stop. You don't have to keep going. But more often than not, I would say 99.9% of the time, I actually am going to say never. I have never gone and then said, I don't really want to do this actually.
Right.
No, once I'm there and I'm committed and I feel good about it. And once you start sweating, I love to sweat. I
Yeah.
just love to.
I would say that I have gone downstairs and I have because I work out at home. I have worked out and changed my workout based on how I feel. So I still do a workout, but sometimes like if because I often take wads from the workout of the days
Yeah.
from the internet, and so it'll say 7 rounds of something like that,
Right.
and then I'm like 5 rounds
I'll do
in
4
and I'm like
or
I'm
5.
done.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like I can't do it anymore for
Yeah.
whatever reason. And so often for me it has to do with getting lightheaded and going, yeah, this isn't good anymore.
Well, even
Something's
if I
wrong.
wake up and I already have because I do the same thing. I pull something off the app or I'm taking the class. And one way or the other, I could say, I'm not feeling the class today. I'm going to just go ahead and get something off the app or vice versa. Like, I don't even want to think about it. I'm going to go take the class,
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So
but-
yeah. But I guess to answer the question, is twofold. One is, I think just like anything, there are habits that all of us do. Just try this tomorrow. Try and put the right sock on instead of the left sock on first. Just try and change the habit. If you try and do that, it just feels weird. Well,
Right.
that's what it feels like to me in regards to working out.
Yeah.
It's such a part of who I am
Yeah.
that to not do it. And then you might be asking about the time wise and all that stuff. Well, for me, it's nice because I can do it here and I fit it in. It takes an hour usually. And with the shower, it's hour and 15 minutes max. Because I don't have to go anywhere. And sometimes it's less than that. And then my walk, I do early in the morning. Like I do it at 5 in the morning. So it's over. So I've already done an hour, 40 minutes of work or whatever. And then I'm taking a walk. And anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well,
point is
and I
get
want
it
to
all
say
done.
in terms of the word motivation, because that's what they used
yeah,
in this
right.
question. Motivation doesn't always have to be there, and sometimes it's not there at all. It is really about a commitment to yourself. You know what? And it also too, I find that if you can do it with a friend, if you have like gym partners, gym buddies, or whatever, that is also a driving force to get yourself to do something. Because then you're again, first of all, you have accountability. It's more fun sometimes, if you're not the type of person that just wants to go and do it by yourself or go for a walk by yourself or whatever. So
the only thing I get nervous about doing it with a friend is that if the friend doesn't want to do it, then then all of a sudden you don't do it. So,
no, and that's very true. But I'm talking like, for an example, because of COVID, you started working out on your own.
Oh,
but
right.
wasn't it really fun for you when you were working out
it's
in
far
the
better.
gym with
Far
other
better to
people?
do with
So that's
the
what
gym.
I'm saying. Like, if you can find a little group that has the same, goals as you in terms of just moving your body 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever it is, and be committed. Like, even if your friend does say, okay, I'm not going to be able to do it today, just say, okay, then fine. I'm going to go for that walk by myself, or
Right.
I'm going to, or whatever. Make sure you get it on the calendar for another day. But again, motivation isn't always there. It's really a commitment.
I would say there's several times when motivation is not there in the like, oh yay, I'm gonna go work out. I mean, it's more like, okay, this is what I do, and then it's just the feeling afterwards of, that felt so good, and I just am so grateful that I did it. So I really do enjoy that part of it. And like you said, I've always done weird things. I mean, I played soccer when I was younger. I did run. I walked. I've done all kinds of little different things, just regular gym stuff. And then CrossFit was a huge thing for me because there's such a community thing. It's all full body and all that stuff. That I really loved CrossFit. So and then you mentioned, last thing I'm going to say is, I do think about the fact that I want to play with my grandkids.
Well, yeah.
I don't want to stare at
And
them.
not only that, like I am doing the craziest thing with my grandbabies that I would have never imagined mom doing, like playing hopscotch or getting under the tables and doing, you know what I mean? And so, and mom was an active person as far as I'm concerned. It was, she's a healthy person, I should say. But
But she's a walker.
Even more than that, like, you're talking about just carrying your own groceries in. Like, I'm not the person that wants to go back and forth to my car. I carry all my groceries in 2 arms, and if it's not one trip, then they're staying in the car the rest of the night because I don't want to go back and forth.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
No, but I'm just saying, like, as you age, especially for a woman who goes through menopause and you've got all these hormonal things going on, like I want my muscles to protect my bones. I want my joints to be limber.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on that is in my mind. So I guess if there's a motivation for me, that would be it.
Yeah.
But I want to go
last
into the
last thing I do want to say
you
about...
said last thing like 10 minutes
Well,
ago.
yeah, I have 5 last things. And so, no, the only thing I would say is if you're listening to this and wondering, okay, well, I want to be like that and I want to go for it. We've talked about this in other podcasts. I'm just going to say this. Please start small.
Yes.
Do not start with doing something huge.
Well, so I just said, take that walk.
Take the 10-minute walk, just 10 minutes. Do something like that and work up to something much bigger if you choose to. Because I'm just going to tell you, a 10-minute walk is better than no walk.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
go from there.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something, Maggie? You were holding the mic. No, he's not.
Moving it around.
No. So that was his
But
exercise.
there is also, just to your point about that, there is also some great things that I found because during COVID that we couldn't go to the gym, and that's when I started running again. But also there's so much stuff online now, so you can be doing yoga in your living room. You can, and there's so many.
There's
free
this thing
things,
called
so.
dad wad. It's all body weight, or sometimes he uses dumbbells. But
well, that's one of the questions.
Really cool.
I'm going to go back to the second part of the first question, but the second question that was given to me was, what is the app you use to work out? So that goes into it. Yours you use is called DadWad.
Well, one of them is DadWad. It's called DadWad, and it's just a guy who does a bunch of body weights and dumbbell weight workouts. So I do that. The other thing I do is, because I did CrossFit for so many years, I have saved WODs.
Yeah.
And I just use WODs
Yeah.
from years past. And then also there's people that post their WODs.
Yeah.
And so I just
grab it.
I just
Yeah.
grab whatever they're doing. So my workouts are much like a CrossFit workout in general. I wouldn't say I'm really strict on it, but typically I do something in the beginning that's like heavy and less
Like Olympic
reps.
lifting kind of thing.
Either Olympic lifting or just even back squats or, but with heavy, go and doing, 6-4-2 and that kind of a thing of reps and ending
And then get
really
into
high.
more like a Metcon or whatever.
Yeah, and then you get into a Metcon, which would be a WOD of, it could be as short as 10 minutes and it could be as long as 25.
Sure.
But it just depends on what it is. So that's my typical thing.
My app that I use is called Playbook. And Paleo MG, Julie Bauer, she has a whole fitness thing on there. But I didn't realize when I got the Playbook app, I thought it was just going to follow her and all her workouts. She also does like, there's a nutrition thing on there. You also can pay for things, but she does have her daily workouts are free. But as I was looking at her, once I started that, I realized there's a ton of fitness trainers that are on there. And so you can do all of theirs. And again, some of their stuff on their page is you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But the daily workouts are free. And then, like I said, she has even a nutrition thing on there, which is
what
awesome.
I really like about the DadWad one is because some of you are out there and probably don't have equipment. And this is just all It's all free. I think it's called Dad Wad. I'm going to make sure because now I'm nervous.
No, I think you're right. I remember hearing it before.
Okay, then go for it. What's your next thing? Or did we finish?
No, they were just asking the app. So that was the one I used.
The Dad Wad.
The Dad Wad.
The Dad
And you know
Wad.
what? When we write up the description in this, we'll put it in there for sure. The Dad Wad and the Playbook app.
Yeah, the
So,
Dad Wad and the Playbook app.
Okay, so the other question, going back to number one that she had, was what motivates you. Then there was the next question right after that. Was she said, Benny talked about weighing himself daily. Do
right.
you? And so I guess I'll answer this, but then you can chime in because it'll probably not trigger, but it'll explain why you weigh yourself. You still weigh yourself daily.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say 5 days a week. I forget sometimes.
Yeah.
So
I used to weigh myself every single day. And I was, and you know, if you heard the first couple of podcasts, I think it was in the first 3, I think, I weighed a couple times a day. Like that's when I was really like crazy, when I was like, anyway, that's a podcast.
Another podcast.
Yeah, that's
your.
But yeah,
what is it called?
That was my eating disorder day, or my disordered eating days.
Disordered eating.
But anyway, so yeah, I did do that all the time, and then it became an obsession. So then I threw my scale away because I did not want to do that.
Thing,
yeah,
it?
But then I found this other scale that it doesn't just weigh when you step on it what you actually weigh as a person. It also
measures your body fat,
measures your bone density, measures if your muscle there, to see. So when I got that scale,
which by the way, do you think that's real?
I don't know, to be honest with you, because
How does
I'm
it tell that from your
I don't
feet?
even know. I know.
From your feet, it's
it.
like, oh my gosh, it literally it takes 3 seconds, and it's like I have to go to the doctor and get have 450 times, and like just buy that scale.
I know, right? Well, a friend of mine recommended it, and she's one of the Instagram friends I have, and all of the stuff that she uses and does, I love. And so when she talked about this, I was like, okay, that's weird. She doesn't even seem like the type of person that would weigh herself. But if she were to weigh herself, I get why, because she's trying to, get her muscle and her bone and all this kind of stuff. And when I bought the scale is when I decided that I wanted to do some more weight training, strength training, or whatever. Right. So I was like, well, this will be a good way to see if I am actually building some muscle and what have you. So I did get it. And then I started weighing myself daily, and then I just stopped. And I was like, okay, here's why I don't weigh myself daily. Because it can trigger people. And I think that's what was happening with me, is it was like, if I got on the scale, like let's just say yesterday I got on the scale and it was 115. And then tomorrow I get on, it's 117. And then I think, oh my gosh, I gained 2 pounds in one day. But there's no way you can gain 2 pounds in one day.
Right, no.
Okay. You could have just drank 4 cups of coffee and had a big glass of tall water, and then that's where the scale.
Did you say big glass of tall water?
Big glass of tall water. That's a thing.
Okay.
A big glass of water. But I'm just saying, you could literally drink that and then get back on the scale, and it'll go up 2 pounds. So it's not necessarily pounds, right?
Right.
So
well,
that's
it is pounds, but it's not necessarily fat or weight.
Well,
it's just
then you go to the bathroom later and then you're down.
Yeah, exactly.
So all I'm saying is that was when I decided, okay, I don't need to do this every day, because like you just said, I don't even know if it's really measuring my muscles and my bones and my whatever. So I just started doing it like once every 2 weeks. I will step on it and see just where it is. And 9 times out of 10, I already know where it is, because either I can feel it in my clothes are getting tighter, or, or maybe they're getting a little more loose. So I'm already aware, but I don't fluctuate that much. I fluctuate maybe a pound or 2.
So because of what you just said, because of water and other, whatever.
And don't forget about women with their periods and stuff. Like you always go up in weight, like during a period.
Yeah. I didn't know that, so I won't forget it ever again. Okay, let me write that down in reminders. Okay, so but what I was going to say is, it's so funny. Don't forget.
Yes, don't forget.
Okay, but for me, I think it's just, again, kind of a habit thing, and I would say, I mean, it's probably 4 or 5 times a week, and then and honestly, I barely give it any I don't think about it very much. So the only time I think about it is if all of a sudden it makes this radical jump. But if I'm within, honestly, in my case, if I'm within 5 pounds, I'm like, okay, I'm fine. And so,
Well, I think for me, and again, I don't think that you've ever had like a disordered eating or a weird relationship with food or your body or whatever. I did, and it goes back to like, how I felt, how I was treated by my first husband about my body, and I had to make sure I looked a certain way or whatever. And so that said, it put me in this whole spiral of like controlling all that. And so I finally just had to relinquish it and just go, I'm not going to be a slave to the scale kind of thing.
Right.
So if you don't have that kind of a feeling about it, then you're probably okay to weigh yourself every day. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But you cannot think to yourself, like, for me, if the scale goes up, like, oh, the scale went up, I think I'm going to just eat, 10
crackers
grapes today.
Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I see. I think I see it both ways because, see, for me, I don't. You're right. I don't think I've ever had. I've had eating issues. I still have eating issues because, like we've already said, many times I could totally way too many cookies or whatever, any kind of junk food. I could definitely go down that rabbit trail. But I wouldn't say, I don't look at my body and go, oh gosh, and then start getting fussy and worried and stuff like that. I will say when I get over a certain amount, then I go, okay, something's up right now. I need to dial it down.
Yeah.
Normally it's quantity. It's not even the junk food because it's not like I eat, 45 pounds of junk food, although I can. But usually what I notice if I'm increasing, it's because I'm just eating too much.
Yeah.
And so, but one thing that you mentioned a couple of weeks ago or sometime is, maybe you need to eat more. So I'm trying to eat more at lunch. I don't like eating a lot really a ton at dinner. That'll mess me up, for the evening. But
yeah, I just feel like that day, I know this is off the subject of the scale, sorry, of weighing ourselves, but I just feel like when you told me what you ate during the day and then at night you like to sit and you feel like you just can keep eating, maybe you still want a snack. That's fine, but maybe you wouldn't gorge if you had enough calories in the early part of the day. Yeah. But
you had more questions. I'm sorry.
So no, that was the good one about weighing myself. So I do. In answer to that, I do not weigh myself daily. I will probably pull the scale out every few weeks and I don't even know why, to be honest, because I already kind of know. But it's just like you said, it might be just let's just see what's going on here. When we did the 5-day drop, which I like to call it a 5-day reset, I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago too. It asked you to weigh yourself every single day because it wanted to see if you were dropping. Now Peter did, and he would see the scale go down. I waited till the last day to do it. So yeah, I didn't do it every day. I just thought, because I didn't even think I was going to lose weight, to be honest with you, because I don't really have weight to lose. But I still didn't want to know, to be honest. I loved how I was feeling. I loved how I looked.
Oh, right. So it would have been irritating to you. It might have felt weird.
Sure, exactly. But when I did get back on the 6th day, because it's 5 days, so the 6th day, I did drop 4.5 pounds. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's great. Because it didn't matter at that point. If it stayed the same, I would have still been like, well, this is awesome because I didn't need to lose weight and I feel great.
That's the thing, is I care more about how I feel than how much I weigh. I care that my clothes fit. That's important to me, or look, and they look okay. Not like the body dysmorphia thing, but that I just want to look. I don't want to look a certain way. I don't want to have to wear a bro. Yeah. And so that's probably my biggest thing. Yeah. But
and I think that's okay. I think in today's diet culture world, and just in general, everybody's all about, embrace your body where it is. And I fully get that. And I totally agree with that. I would never shame anyone for looking a certain way if they feel good in their skin. And I shouldn't say if they feel good in their skin. I would never shame anybody for looking a certain way, but especially if they feel good in their skin and they're, healthy or what have you. But it also should be okay if you're another way and feel like, I want to look this way, I feel better this way, and not be shamed for that.
No, exactly. Well, like that happened to Adele. My understanding is that, she was not thin. Mm-hmm. She got thin. Mm-hmm. And then a bunch of haters basically said, why did you get thin? What's your problem? Why didn't you accept yourself the way you were? Didn't you tell me that, Trinity?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, interesting. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's sad too, because whatever reason she decided to, and the sad,
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
All I do know is that what you just said is interesting, because shame is not a good motivator for anything. If you're doing it because of shame, shame is a horrible motivator. It doesn't work. It's not a good thing. People try to use shame to, even parents will try to shame their kids into certain things. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It won't work, and all you really do is bury your kid.
Yeah.
So it's just not a healthy thing to do for yourself. And I almost guarantee you that if you're shaming your kid, you're probably shaming yourself.
Right.
And it just doesn't work.
No.
And so
it's definitely not.
It's not a good motivator.
Yeah.
So, all right.
The last one is, we actually already talked about it, so we're on time because we probably won't be able to address this, or we won't have to address this very long. It's thoughts on walking versus running or other fitness exercises. So we're done because we already answered that.
No.
Just kidding.
So I used to run, and I love running, and I don't have any problem with runners. And what just happened is that I got plantar fasciitis to the point that I could not run, and I had no idea what I had. All I knew was that, and the kids remember this, and Patty remembers it, but I couldn't walk. I'd literally have to use my hands along the wall because my feet hurt so bad. And until they started to what is that called? Stretch, I guess, or whatever. Then all of a sudden it would go. My first 150 meters of a run was in excruciating pain. And then all of a sudden it would go away, and then I was fine. Then I'd get home and I couldn't walk again.
Yeah.
And I did that for like a year.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And, but I just thought, oh, well, this is my lot in life.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think much of it. And I was in Ecuador at the time, and doctors that I did ask didn't really know what it was. And then I finally talked to a sports doctor here in the States, and he said, oh, you have plantar fasciitis. Gave me some exercise, and then said, well, dude, and the one thing you can't do is run.
Yeah.
You're done running.
Yeah.
And so then I said, well, my sister does CrossFit. You think that's okay? And he goes, I do CrossFit. He goes, I think CrossFit's great, but they're going to ask you to run sometimes. Just tell them you can't.
Yeah, and row or something.
Yeah, row or something else. And then he said, don't do these certain exercises.
Okay, so back to the question.
And then we were eating spaghetti, and there was this man.
Your thoughts on running,
and so
walking versus running or another fitness exercise.
I really love running, and I really love CrossFit. I really love anything that's aerobic, and I also think it's important to do heavy weights. But I'm going to say the most important thing is to move. And so, honestly, I think it's more important. I think people who try to, for instance, run, and then they don't like it, and so then they don't even walk.
Exactly.
And so for me, it's I want to, this is out of my realm, but I am just really happy when people are doing something.
Yeah. And I was going to say, for my answer to that question is, I've done a lot of reading in the last couple of years about walking versus running. And I was a runner too, as you know, the marathons and what have you, and loved it and never thought anything was going to feel as good as running. That said, I don't really enjoy running that much anymore, but I do enjoy a really good brisk walk. Like, I'm talking where you almost would feel more comfortable running, But all that said, I heard the benefits of walking are amazing. It doesn't have to be a run. So if you're not an exerciser per se, and you don't know where to start, but walking is cheap, walking is free, walking, you can walk around. If you don't want to walk in a neighborhood because it doesn't feel good, you can walk around, you can walk on a treadmill, you can walk around a track, but
go to the mall.
Walk the mall. But I agree with you 110%. I think that we need to move as people. We need to be moving, especially today. So many people are so wrapped up in just sitting online doing whatever it is.
And games, video games and stuff like that.
And there's just not enough movement. So
yeah,
walking, I think also too, if you're asking my thoughts on walking versus running or if you're not a new person, a new exerciser, if you will, and you're asking what should you do, walk, run, or work out, I think you should do whatever you enjoy so that you'll stick with it.
Yeah. And like we mentioned earlier, so one of the tendencies that I notice with people who are starting to work out is they'll say something like, okay, I'm going to start running. And then they go get workout clothes and they get all excited and they invest in it, and then they hate it. And then there's this guilt and shame, and I bought all this stuff and then I don't use it. So my serious recommendation to you is don't buy anything.
Yeah.
Just go for a walk around the block and do that for a month. and do it 3 times a week if you can.
Mm-hmm.
And literally just do something that's going to take 10 or 15 minutes and then go, I like this, and then do a little more, and then do a little more,
Mm-hmm.
and then do a little more. And then, God willing, should you decide that I want to run, then what I had to do to run is I ran 1 minute, and then I walked 9 minutes, and I did that for 40 minutes. You can do it for 30 or something like that. So you're only running, what is that? I can't do the math. 6 minutes, but
Yeah,
you're
like
walking
in
the rest
total.
of, in total. And then the next week you do that for a week. And then the next week you walk 2 minutes run 2 and do 8. You keep doing that until finally you're just running, because if you jump into it, you'll hate yourself. You'll hurt and all that
You'll be
stuff.
sore.
But I do agree that, to be honest with you, there's a lot of great benefits to, for me, the thing with walking that's so great is there are some negatives to running, like plantar fasciitis. Like if you don't run well, you could hurt your knees and you can hurt joints and certain things. I'm not saying that that's the case for everybody, but you can if you're not doing it right. Walking, you could do. It's really hard to mess up.
Right. And you can challenge yourself if you're like, well, I probably will never be a runner for whatever the reason. But you can also challenge yourself with walking. You don't have to walk fly. Like when
That's
I
right.
lived over in wherever, Harbor City, where there was hills. I would walk over to the PV area and it would just be hills. So you can challenge yourself and do some incline, decline, and so it's not just
But
flat.
work up to it. Don't do it. Don't
Yeah.
start it. So anyway.
But I do also agree, really, really quickly, I do think that any person, even if it's a 2.5 dumbbell weight, that people will benefit from some kind of strength training.
Some kind of strength training, some kind of movement. Just do something, because I promise you, it's not even, you know what it is too? You're tricking your body, because you know what happens for a lot of people who start working out is they say to themselves, I'm going to work out. Then they don't. Then their mind starts to believe, I don't follow through with what I say.
Yeah.
And so just following through with this, it's not even just the physical thing. You will actually feel better about yourself. You'll find yourself being more disciplined in other areas of your life that you like, because you're going to start telling your brain, I do what I say.
Exactly.
I do what I say.
You will get a little boost of energy from it. And like we said earlier on in the podcast, I don't know one person that has ever said, oh, I really regret working out today.
Yeah, I wish it wouldn't have worked out. So it doesn't happen. So anyway, hey, we're very glad you're with us. Thank you, Val. Those are great. I think those are great questions. And it looks like, Iggy, we're not doing anything about being an employer. So we'll have to do another one. Yeah. So anyway, hey, thank you for listening to us. If you could do us a favor and subscribe, that would be super helpful.
Share this.
Share it on your Instagram, on your Facebook, on your, what other things? TikTok. I don't know if you can do that.
I don't know. You can also just share it through a text.
Oh, yeah. You can just text it. But anyway, tell people, especially if you think someone really needs this, then tell them. So we have a ton of them now. Ton. How many do we have, Iggy?
Well, there's 8. There's 8.
This is episode 17.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, see? So you right now would be a totally different person if you do everything we said. I'm just kidding. So anyway, hey, please follow us too, if you would, at our Instagram. I'm at Benny Gonzalez, BennieGonzales.
And I am a daily dose of _Coco.
Yeah. And so that's not a spelled out word. It's just a little underscore line.
Yes. Thank you.
So anyway, we're really glad you're with us. Subscribe, do the 5 stars. It's super helpful. Give us any questions that you have, like you gave Valerie, and we would love to hear from you guys.
Yes, for sure. You guys have a really good week.
Yes. Make it a great week.
Bye.
Ciao.
Are we?